What's happening, guys? It's BGFX. Welcome back to the channel. I'm coming at y'all with a brand new video, and in today's video topic, we're going to talk a little bit about a trade that we took here last week on GBPJPY, which is a 1 to 13.7 risk to reward, right? Very beautiful trade setup. I'm going to be taking you guys through my thought process, kind of what led me to enter, and kind of why I pulled the trigger on this trade setup, right? So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to go into the Telegram. We're going to go to the Instagram. Without further ado, let's get this started, right? So to go to Instagram real quick, you can see that this was a 1 to 13.7 risk to reward trade. Okay, this was a 3 pip stop loss for 41 pip reward, and full profits were taken for 13 times my risk, right? So this wasn't like a take profit 1 hit or a take profit 2 hit secure parcels or take profit 3. This was a full-on 1 to 13. So if you would have, put $100 risk, you could have made 1,300 back. If you would have put 1,000 risk, you'd have made 13,000 back. Now, of course, give or take broker fees, you can subtract a couple of % off of that. But for the most part, man, this was a very, very clean trade setup, and we are already up for February over 20 times our risk, and it's not even halfway through February yet, right? So last week I posted a video about it. If you want, you can check it out. This was a 1 to 10 last week, and then we had this 1 to 13.7 this week, right? So let's go ahead and go into the Telegram really quick, and you can see that I put buy in GBPJPY, right? Price is 2 pips away, so I gave a little bit of a notice here, and you can see that the entry was at 144.541. Okay, so let's go ahead and scale down to the 1 minute. And we are going to bring this back really quick. And you can see that entry, like I said, was 144.5. Let's go back to that real quick. 514, okay? 514 right here, okay? Stop loss was 3 pips. And that was 144.484. 144.484, and then final targets were up here for a 1 to 13.7. okay, and we're gonna do a quick rundown of kind of what led me to enter this trade setup, right? So if we go up to the 30-minute real quick, guys, we can see that GJ has been in a very, very bullish trend for a long time. Now if we go ahead and we look at the way that GJ moves, you can see that it's a pair that gives you a lot of intraday opportunities. So whether the trend is moving up or the trend is moving down, typically it'll show you buy and sell opportunities. Now something I've noticed, right, subtly, is as we came into 2021, this pair no longer has been moving the same in terms of intraday setups. You kind of get to this place to where you will be able to buy or sell GJ depending on the long-term trend. You can see, right, that since 2021 started, okay, you can look right here, like January 1st, price has not been showing substantial reactions to pullbacks in areas where you typically can count a trend trade. You can see that we kind of react a little bit and boom, wipe through, pull liquidity off the high, wipe through. So it's a lot of consistent upside movement. So in this case, I did have a bullish bias for GJ. I was pretty much only looking to buy unless I seen something substantial, right? Similar to last week where we had very strong bearish order flow coming to the downside before interest rates, right, for the GBP. So this allowed me to scale in with a little bit of sells beforehand, right? And then from that interest rate GBP, we have been once again super bullish. So to start off and kind of map out some structure here, you can see that we of course have this little area of demand. Okay, we have an area of demand. Like I said, some people will call it the ICT order block, whatever you want to call it. Okay, in this case we have this little zone. We can go ahead and we can map this out right here, and you can see that price shows substantial reaction to this level. Now something I want you guys to realize is pay attention to how strongly it whipped above this level. Okay, pay attention to the volume of this bullish candle in particular. I want you guys to notice how this bullish candle right here actually took out these equal highs very, very strongly. So what price did was pretty much gave us a simple run on liquidity before kind of following back to the downside and then ranging. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and drop a little Bitcoin logo here. Price runs up, pulls liquidity. From this area, where you can actually see, if you look very close, you can see that once again we had another range. Now, understanding, right, that just because we're looking at the 30-minute and we see substantial structure here, there's also going to be structure on the 15-minute and the 5-minute that could come in handy once we do kind of progress with price action. So in this case, right, we have this little range, and what do? We have a solid bullish candle. I believe this is about 10 pips, a run of around 10 pips below support. Right here, see how price was breaking and retesting went with a little accumulation, and then broke through. So the way I like to think of it, right, when I'm looking at the markets, I always want to ask myself, is the market accumulating, is it manipulating, or is it expanding? Because for the most part, the market is going to do one of these three things. When it comes to my trading, I'm usually looking for the expansion. So if I need to wait for the accumulation to happen and all the manipulation to happen, that's what I'll typically do. And then once my setup is finally here, that's when I pull the trigger. And that's why I feel like it's crucial to know the mechanics of the markets, because at the end of the day, you can keep it simple. You can trade the breaks and retests for the 1-2s or the breakouts for the 1-1s and 1-3s. But if you want to have the 3-pip stop loss with the 100 pip reward or 40 pip reward, and just keep in mind, it goes beyond this. You know, some people have 1-100s. I'm just good with the 1-13s, you know, but it's important to understand, if you want to have these tight stop losses, it's important to understand the true engineering of how the market works, right? So you can see that price pull liquidity here, and you can pretty much say, boom, we have a little bit of liquidity around this area, and boom, we run it. So what I did here was I actually took this little box here, and I drew this off as a 30-minute point of interest, right? 30-minute POI. So basically all I was doing is, once price began to trade back into this level, I was just going to be looking on the lower time frame for my buys, right? And then I'll put like a little symbol here, just so that will let me know easily, okay, this is a level I'm going to be watching. And then the same thing kind of for this area, right? I did feel like there was a possibility that price was going to come back into this zone as well. But I want you guys to keep in mind that this was like end of the week, okay? When we were looking at this was, let's see, February 10th, okay? Or February 11th, right, when we were in the range. So we were actually coming to the end of the week. I believe that was Thursday, if I'm right. Let me check. Yeah, Thursday. Okay, so when we look at what was happening here, you can see that GJ was in somewhat of a range. Now, once we were in this range, we actually did create these equal highs, right? Another form that can be ran as liquidity in the future. So if we go ahead and we press replay and we bring price back to here, let's go ahead and look at what price is doing, or what it's done so far. If we go ahead and we look at the equal highs that were created February 7th, you can see that we pulled back, you know, a little bit of a impulse correction, impulse into a strong level of demand, showing reaction, right, pulling back a little bit and whipping through liquidity, right, through these equal highs. And then we kind of create a little significant level here. You know, maybe some break and retesters were coming in, maybe some sell side orders were coming in. Now, if we go ahead and we zoom out, I want to point something out. If you take this trend line here, and you might have to modify it a little bit to kind of see what I mean, but if you take this trend line here, you can see that price broke the trend line, and we also had a double top. So the average retailer, right, thinks of this as strong selling pressure coming in the markets, and they also feel that this range here is going to lead to a continuation to the downside. Because if we come up to the weekly, right, you can see that we did have equal highs on the weekly, right? We were approaching equal resistance, and I've been saying this for the longest about GJ, right? GJ's been creeping up. You can look at the weekly supply. You can see the weekly supply is getting weak, and once it does approach the monthly resistance, that's going to bring even more sellers in, and price is going to run up even more, okay? So if we go back to the 30 really quick, you can see how we have pretty much what you can call a tightening of a range, right? Basically the range starting like this, it kind of tightens up, and then eventually what you'll see is a breakout, either a fake out to the downside, maybe continue back up, or a continuation, right? All depends on what the market wants to do. So in this case, we have this range. Now, instead of me looking to get like a sell bias because we break out of this range, what I actually was doing was just watching price at my point of interest. So we begin to move down, right? We begin to put sellers into the markets and break out to the downside of the range. Then once we approach my point of interest, right, I came down to the 1 minute, and I wanted to see some type of substantial reasoning to enter, right? So in this case, you can see that price really melted off. And from this spot, okay, we have the equal highs, and we also need to map out our weekly high really quick, which was created on Wednesday. Okay, this was Wednesday that it was created. So price gets bullish and really super bullish in a week, we could expect the weekly high to be cleared somewhere around Friday. Sometimes it won't happen until next week, which is why I only wanted to take 41 pips, which is I was looking for to see price take liquidity above these equal highs, right? So once again, a little bit of a range, looking for the manipulation, and then I'm looking for the expansion to follow through back to the upside. Okay, now let's go ahead and come right here. 144.514. We had price kind of consolidating, a little bit of back and forth movement. Then there, we are now entered into the trade setup, and we can see that we do have a solid indecision candle, right? Some people will call this a doji candle, and we have a little bit of reaction here. And then from this point, right, just kind of want to pay attention to price action. So if we go ahead and we press play, you can see that we have a little bit more reaction, and boom, there's our breaker structure. So seeing that this level of structure was broken here, I was actually decided to move my stops to break even. So I went ahead and I alerted everybody and told them, look, we can make this position risk free, because at the time of us entering this position, it was still Asia. Okay, this was actually a pre-London setup. So if you know the way I trade, you know that typically I like to trade London for the most part. You know, most of my trades will happen either London 30 minutes after London, once a little bit volume comes in. But in this case, I actually did see my opportunity beforehand. Okay, so if we go to the Telegram really quick, we can go down, you can see GJ and blues, right, risk free. And then this was like the reaction to the trade, which happened very quickly, right? Very clean sniper entry, minimal drawdown. So you can see we have this entry sealed in pre-London, which will have us in a good spot if price decides to get bullish. So that's kind of like the place I'm in with my trading right now. I like for my position to be sealed off before the volume comes in, right? I like to see price create a significant level near my entry. That way I'm risk free. Price pulls back, and then the main volume in the markets usually comes in with the expansion once I'm already in my position, right? So I'm not looking for the breakout to enter or the pullback to enter. I'm speculating where price is going to run, right? I'm looking for true price action. So in this case, GBPJPY moving 4 times our risk. Expect some pullbacks here and there as we make our way up. You can take small profits if you like. I'm holding, right? I didn't take any type of profits on this trade until I got to 1 to 13.7. Okay, GJ is moving, running 6 times our risk, and then this is finally once the targets were hit, right? GBPJPY hit take profits from 1 to 13.7 risk to reward. GJ flew 30 times the risk from initial entry. Great 1 to 13.7 if you decided to close that take profit with me. Solid 1 to 10 last week, and also 1 to 13 this week. Then just talked a little bit about how we'll probably have some great opportunities coming this week for GJ, depending on what it does here for us, right? So this was, like I said, pre-London setup. Price was moving right here at our 30-minute point of interest, and I want to break down some of these individual movements, right? So we begin to move up to the upside, and we actually spike here because of GBP news right here. So one thing I want to say, man, is like when stuff like this happens, one of the most important things you can do is stay emotionally balanced, because a spike like this followed by a drop like this can pretty much diminish a lot of profits. So if you're running like, you know, a couple $100 profits or a couple of $1,000 profits, price coming down here could have pretty much took away half of that. So you want to think from a place of what the markets are doing, right? Not just your profit and loss. You don't want to trade the amount of money on your screen. You don't want to be confident in a position just because of the current state of it. You know, there's an entire process behind each entry, and in this case, I did want to see price take out liquidity above these highs, and you can see that, yeah, we did pull liquidity above here, but I understood that this was just a little bit GBP news, and my trade is already risk free. Now, some people would say secured partials. In this case, it was end of the week, and I kind of just wanted to continue to hold on to this, right? So if we go ahead and we press play, I'll let this finish up on the 30-minute, and boom. So there's take profit being hit. And I also want you guys to realize what price did right after it hit our targets right here at 144.925. So we come up right here, go back to the take profit, just so you guys can see 144.925 literally hit take profit perfectly and fell back down. Now, for the long term, what GBPJPY did, not long term, but for the rest of the day to end the week Friday, you can see that we continued up even more, and price was very bullish, and I was okay with this, right? The overall idea of my setup was that we were going to pull these highs, maybe finish the week with some consolidation. What we actually did is we pushed up, purged the highs, gave us a little pullback, and then continued all the way up to the upside, right? So very beautiful trade overall. We had the demand, we had the equal highs here. Strong reactions to the demand, created a couple points of interest. Main point of interest being around the run on liquidity after this range that ended up happening for a few hours, and then looking for weekly high to potentially be taken out. But like I said, this was a Friday, so I really didn't want to kind of hold through with a long-term position. And I took my profits around a 1 to 13, and then you can also see, like I said, we had this range. We had a fake out of the range and that's when our entry was showcased to us. Now another thing, I'm not going to dive too much in depth with this, but I also had another form of confluence here, which was the volume weighted average price. And what I did was I brought it down from this swing low, and you can see how this kind of was acting as a potential area of value, right? You can see how price was reacting to it. A lot of rejection off of the VWAP, then we come down into demand, come up, retest it, and then you can see how we're following through. And then we have my formation, right, my entry confirmation right here at it. And you can see based off of price moving in the past, we did have a solid amount of reaction. You can see that it was moving significantly, right? So what I did was I just took this here after a strong impulsive move up, and what that did was kind of give me a little extra form of confirmation, right? So for every form of confirmation for this trade, we had my 30-minute point of interest, we had my 1-minute structure, we had GJ being bullish for the long term, we also had the VWAP as another form of confirmation, and then also retail sentiment right here was my last form of confirmation. And what this is telling me is that 86% of people, when the data was released, were actually short on GJ. So what this is showing me, right, and it was that potentially price was going to keep going, because one thing I want to say is when price was right here, 80% of people were short. Now price is going to continue to move to the upside for the most part when something like this happens, right? Not in every case, but you can see that this was a very bullish market, and a lot of people have been wanting to short GJ, and this is just another confirmation, right? Another form of confirmation. A lot of people are short. Retail sentiment is short. I wouldn't be surprised if price continues to run up on sellers, right? So that was another form of confirmation. And I think that is pretty much it. So this is the final markup for the trade. This is a 1 to 13. If I wanted to hold, but I'm not really into this way of thinking, because you could always get more out of the markets. You know, not every trade is going to be like a perfect in and out. Sometimes you'll miss some of the moves. Sometimes you'll catch a good bit of it. In this case, we did catch a substantial amount, giving us a 1 to 13. Which is something I'm very, very happy with. Now, if you wanted to hold, this would have been like a 1 to 30. I have a couple of students that did decide to hold this position, but for the most part, man, this was just an overall very clean trade setup. So if we go back into here really quick, let's see, this was the first trade of the week. Okay, this trade was a very clean setup as well. I believe this was like a 1 to 10.2. This ended up being a loss, right? So a loss for 4 pips. So we had -1R with 4 pips, and then we had plus 13.7, so still like 12 times our money for the week, you know, and to subtract broker fees, you know, depending on what broker you use. So this is a very, very clean setup. So yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Just to give y'all one quick recap, right? Before, after, signal called, little update on the signal. Another update, here's my personal entry, right, for the longs. Ended up holding this for a good little minute. And then a couple of FTMOs passed as well. I believe like 2 or 3 people passed FTMO just off of one trade, which is insane, man. It's definitely a good feeling to know that you can help people like that. So to bring this back down, 1 to 13.7. And that has been it, you guys. I hope y'all did enjoy this video. Trading GJ with the bias of the pair being very bullish. We'll see what happened this week. I told you guys in a couple of videos ago on the weekly supply that we're most likely going to run through here. And that's exactly what happened. And yeah, man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Very clean trade setup. It's been your boy BG. If you did get some value from it, if you feel like this helped you kind of determine where you can be looking to enter in the market, make sure you hit the like button on this video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I might be taking a little break off of YouTube, maybe take like a month off here, and the reason being is because I'm going to be recreating my course very soon with some new content, some more studies, and some more content and kind of variations of the way we trade here. So that's going to be something I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to be focusing a lot more on trading and my students as well. So I'll be taking a little break off of YouTube. If I do get another, you know, if I do get some crazy setups like on GJ, what I'll do is I might post a video still, because it doesn't really take too long to post these videos. And at the same time, I really enjoy, you know, there's so many people that message me telling me, you know, thank you for these videos. They can't believe I break all these trades down for free. But at the end of the day, man, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, giving back to the community. You know, finding the right mentor is so crucial in this game, because it saves you so much time. It saves you going from step to step and trying to figure everything out on your own. So I figured I'd do what I could, explain my way of viewing price action, liquidity, what most people call smart money concepts, because a lot of people trade it. You know, just because they trade it and they understand how it works doesn't mean you're profitable with it. you know. So I like to keep things very simple, and I try not to confuse methodology with profitability, because you can have a million terms on your chart. You can have the buyer's climax, secondary test, upthrust, volume tools, smart money concepts, divergence, all type of things on your charts at the same time. Me personally, I like to keep it very simple, and a lot of the way I trade just comes based off of time and exposing myself to the markets, right? Experience is one of the most powerful things, because at the end of the day, you could understand the concept after studying it or watching a course on it, but when it comes to the execution, that's the most important thing, you know, at the end of the day. And it's proven right here that the way we're doing it is working week by week. So man, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'm not going to talk too much here. It's been your boy BG, 1 to 13.7 risk to reward setup here on GBPJPY. Hope you guys enjoy, man. It's been your boy BG. I'm out. Salute.